and we can go through our farming module. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole.
Very welcome.
Yeah, just the farming and the Age of Print Pros where we need to go over
All right,
these lovely
perfect.
agents. So
All right, perfect. Yeah, and so I'm already signed into the app. So you can see here, I've got farming, I've got Agent Print Pro over here. We'll go through farming first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass over to farming. And I'm just clicking here on this card, and it's just going to take me right over there. All right, perfect. Let me get out of here. Okay, so when we first come over to farming, we're going to have a few different options that we've got. We've got farming over here where we can do a few different types of searches. And this is really on the map, being able to locate the area you want to target. We also have statistics, which we can still use the map to target that area, but then we can set some parameters that we're looking for things like, number of years owned, maybe the number of years that they've owned it, the number of, percentage of owner occupied, things like that. We can also look for a sales price range. So we're going to come in here and I'm just going to go over to this area here. And then actually, I want to go over to Houston. Go over to Houston. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with the farming option right here. So you've got a couple different ways, or actually 3 ways really, to find your area. So if I want to do a radius search, I can just select radius search. If I know the actual address I want to make my center point, I can type that in and it will put a pin in the map for me. Otherwise, I can just really zoom into an area and I can put my pin there. And once I have my map pinned here, I can kind of click on that middle pin. I can move that around if I want. If I click on this outside pin, I can make that bigger or smaller. I can also set a default range. So if I wanted everything, within a mile of that radius, I could do that as well. And really what I'm doing is indicating in purple that area or neighborhoods that I want to target. So that's the radius search. I can also do a boundary search. So if I wanted to really get a very specific area, maybe I wanted, this part of this neighborhood, and I wanted to come down because I wanted to get a little bit here. And I'm just clicking in the map, and I can make different shapes or settings if I wanted to. And when I double click, it's going to close the area. So I could still move that around. I could still make that a little bit bigger or smaller if I wanted to do, I can turn that. So you can do a boundary search by really getting in a very specific area. And then lastly, I can do an area search. So here with an area, I can set in and I can set that, maybe I want a certain county, maybe I want a certain city, maybe I want even down to a zip code, or I want a subdivision, for example. So in here, I can really do that and I can just select in my different options. And I can type. So if I wanted to get that, I could do that. And then once I'm defining my area, like I said here, I could really get very specific. I can also do maybe a street name, a certain street name, or certain subdivision name. So these are some defaults that you can do with area as well. So I'm going to come out of here. I'm just going to come back over here to do a radius search, and I'm just going to put a pin in my map over here. And I'll move that a little bit here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some filters in. So when I add filters in here, I'm going to start being able to select those property characteristics that I'm looking for. So it'll default to townhouse, condo, single family. I can also click on here. I can get, if you're looking for commercial properties, you can mark the different types that you want specifically, or if you want the whole category, you can definitely do that. And in here, you can really set those parameters. So maybe I want at least a 3-bedroom home. And so from here, I'm just going to get a count. So I'm just going to see, what do I have residential? At least 3 bedrooms. And I'm going to get a number here. It's going to tell me how many it found. And then I can still just keep really building off of that search criteria. So it's telling me it found about 1,600 properties here. If I wanted to further refine that, I definitely could. Maybe I only want 2-story homes, and I can get a count again. So I can keep kind of refining the search here, by any number of these options that I have here, and it's just going to keep showing my filters down here, down at the bottom. And if I wanted to, once I get the results back for this, if I wanted to, change a parameter here, so it, maybe cut it down to 900, I can just remove this, and I can just click on the X, and I can get rid of that and keep building out parameters. So any of these tabs up here at the top that are these gray tabs, you can just really come up here. You can set any other ranges. Always look at the drop list. There's a lot where it's, greater than or less than. You can do between if you wanted to target a certain range of information. So these are a lot of things that you can keep building in here, and you can come through and really select other. We've got some custom filters if you only wanted maybe the non-owner occupied. You can also, on the general, you can just do owner occupied as well. So you can set those filters as well. And all of these gray tabs here up at the top, these are all filters that you can run for no additional fees. So there's no other fees to get this information here. You can just keep running that parameter. Where additional fees would come in would be this Premier Data here. So if I click on Premier Data, I'm going to see this Mortgage Info tab. And on the Mortgage Info tab here, I can select any kind of number of these different fields, these different data elements that I want to purchase. These are all at 8 cents a record. Sometimes people will come in here, maybe they're looking for, I want to know everybody with a VA loan, for example, or maybe a certain loan to value ratio. And they want to look at, what are some of those equity percentages? Maybe you want to look at final assessed value for that, and you can get some ranges here. So what it'll do is it'll tell you, oh, it found so many records, it's going to cost this much, and it'll just prompt you to go through and complete the rest of that information and purchase it. So you can buy it either through your credit card, or you can buy credits and really get that information as well. So there's a lot of different elements that you can buy over here. Now, over here on leads, this is where you can get some recorded documents. So these kind of vary from 8 cents to 75 cents, depending on the type of document you're looking for. You can come in here and look for, I want to know maybe some foreclosures, anyone with a Liz pendants, maybe, or you want to know all the cash buyers, things like that. And you can put in the information here. You can set some ranges of what some target dates are that you're looking for. So there's a lot of ways to get that information here that you can purchase. And again, it'll walk you through paying for that with a credit card. I'm going to show you another way to get leads, which I think is a little bit easier once we get some of our search results. And then here, you can also buy phone numbers and emails. So if you wanted to go ahead and do that, it's 8 cents an email, 7 cents a phone. These are not scrubbed, so you want to make sure you're scrubbing those for the do not call list, but these are definitely things that you can purchase. So I'm going to view these records here that we had. We had about 900. And then I'm going to show you some information here that's displayed. So once we get our list over here, we're going to see all of our addresses. We're going to see, if it found the last sale date, if it found last sale price. These are all sortable. So if you wanted to look for, any of these columns, or maybe you sort by owner name, for example, you could do that. And then over here, it's going to give us a little bit of information about beds, baths, square foot, that kind of thing. And then as I hover over these properties, I'm going to see the yellow pin over here on the left. And so I can see where I'm actually at in those neighborhoods. Now, one thing that you can do here is you can clean up this list a little bit further. So I could select here, and maybe some of these have a, information, or I know I'm not ever going to reach out to these folks. So you can kind of mark these. You can exclude the selected. It'll refine your list as well. So it's going to get rid of those properties. It'll take you back. You can also go back to edit a search. This data here that you're looking at is just a little thumbnail of the data elements that are available. So you can come back over here to export, and if I'm going to select custom, but you can export anything out through this farm. If you go to custom, then this list here is all the available things that can be exported out. So a lot of these are going to be on those tabs that we had looked at earlier with the gray tabs. We're going to see those here available. You can also set a custom export if you like. So if it's things that you look at regularly, I selected one here, address info, and then you can just see you just have checkmarked items here. So you don't have to necessarily get the whole list. You can really build a custom export. And I had mentioned the leads over the property. So there's a couple different ways here. So once I have my farm, and I can exclude properties or I could add things to here, this new possible leads is going to show you of the farm, what happened in the last 12, I can change it to 6 or 3, but what happened in the last 12 months? So if I see, there was 4 notice of trustee sales, maybe I wanted to buy those. When I click on buy, it's going to tell me, well, I found 4, it's going to be 32 cents, pay now to continue, and it'll just walk me through that process. So you can buy credits, and this really helps with some budgeting. You want to set some allocations each month. You can buy a credit each month. You can just kind of take away fees from there. There's a $5 minimum on the credit card purchase. So credits are a nice way to just kind of give you a little bit of info at a time that you can buy. You can also limit your records. So for example, maybe this thing came up with 5,000 properties. You only wanted the first 100. You can limit the records here. That can help you do some budgeting as well so that you're not going over those numbers. You can really set some parameters for what you're looking to purchase. And another way that you can get leads, so this new possible leads is really everything in the farm. You can also click on a particular property, and I like to show this one out as well. This lead sheet here, this is for this particular property, and then it's going to look in a 2.5-mile radius of that property, and it'll tell you any leads. I think I had my farm here set to a radius, and I think I only had it as a 1/4 mile. So it kind of kept it small. It just found the records that were in here. This will go out 2.5 miles. And then you can actually see what are those surrounding areas, what's going on in those outside of the farm necessarily. It's just really in that property. And it will also walk you through the purchase. So it tells me here, I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. It will tell us here, okay, here were some stocks it found recorded against. So it found 31 liens, 150 list pendants. Now here's the estimated value of the homes. Here's what potential commissions are. Here's the average loan to value ratio. So it gives you a little bit more information here. And the buy now will just take you again back through and walking you back through and buying those records. So a nice way to get some additional information. So this is really the farm. Over here under farming, if you save this farm here, for example, here under save farm, you can just call it a name. It will go to your save farms list. The export I talked about, you can export all the values. You can also do mailing labels here if you wanted to. The mailing labels are just, I think it's a 5160, the Averys. Yeah, and it just gives you the labels there that you can do. You can also do those reports. So if you want to look at more like card information rather than kind of a CSV, you can get that. I'm going to show you here in just a second in Agent Print Pro, you can actually pull in the addresses. And so you can really build out a mailing that way as well. But this does have the labels if you already have a pre-printed something that you wanted to send. You can also upload a farm. So you don't have to start from scratch. You can just upload a farm if you already have a list of properties that you've been working. You can just pull that in. I've done it a couple different times with county and APN, and it just really plotted out the rest of the info and gave me the owner information, things like that. So you don't have to start from scratch. You can definitely do an upload here as well. So I'm going to clear this search because I do want to show you the statistics option here as well. Again, you can do that really, that map area. This time I'm going to do a boundary here just so we can see a little bit different type of search. So here I've got my boundary. And then here when I add filters, now here's where I can set those parameters that I want to target. Maybe I'm looking for a certain sell price range or a certain turnover rate or non-owner occupied percentage. So here's where I can really build that out. And then when I do that, I'm not going to put any in here because I'm just going to click on the search and show all the parameters. It's going to tell me it found 6 neighborhoods here. And then I'm going to be able to see those stats about these homes. So some of them have information for me. I've got some average prices, got some average years owned here, non-owner occupied. So I can look through here, this one has 168 homes in there, the sale price around average price about 300. Maybe I want to target this one here. It only has 17 homes, but the sales price is significantly higher. So you can really set those, look at them, and then I'm going to select here. And when I do that, it's going to let me, again, set, maybe I only want the 3 bedrooms, or I only want the 2 stories, or I only want a certain square foot. I can still set those parameters. And I'm going to go ahead and get my count here. And I'm going to say continue. And then here, I'm going to again get that list. So in here, you can really see all of that information. And you can get that. Okay. So in here, we've got those information, again, as I'm hovering over items because I selected just that neighborhood, it's just going to give me that particular area on the map. All right, so I know we just have a little bit of time left together. So I'm going to show you back in Prism, I'm going to show you over here in Agent Print Pro. So in Agent Print Pro, you do have the option of doing a lot of different types of collateral. So let me go get an agent account in here. And I want to show you some of these elements that you can look at. Okay, so first thing over here, we have our catalog. So there's a lot of different items in the catalog. Definitely take an opportunity to look through there. Over here under property promotion, I can do some property flyers. So if I wanted to customize a flyer, it's really easy to do. You can see we've got a lot of different templates over here. Got some colorways, different elements here of kind of placeholders. If I just click on view details, it's going to give me the information. I'm going to click on this a little bit to zoom. So you can see I can load pictures here. I can add some custom text here. It's going to pull all of your profile information over here. So you can customize that with your photo, your company info. You can put different elements down of this particular flyer template. And so I'm just going to click on customize order. And when I customize order, you can see I'm starting with a blank page here. So if I start putting in info, this is my headline. I could say, check this out. Maybe my property price is $1 million. I'm going to put that in. I can put in my property address here. I can start adding some text. As I'm building this out, you can see that it has changes detected, update preview. And so it's just going to start filling this into my template here. And if I don't want, if I didn't want that blue, for example, I can just come over here. I can change that color. Maybe I want this coral. And I'm going to update this preview. So I can really keep seeing that kind of building out of the template. And as I'm updating information over here, I can keep updating this template. And so you can really customize this out. And I can upload my photos. I can really make the changes. You can save these for later. You can update the preview as well. So I'm going to go ahead and save that one. There's a lot of collateral in here. There's even business cards. There's holiday cards. There's some social media elements that you can get if you're, working with some home buyers. There's some information that you can give to them. Here's a checklist for successful closing that you can customize. So there's a lot of really different elements in here. I'd mentioned social media. Also, there's print on demand. So if you have somebody who's given you a design, but you want to go through the printing of this, you can upload that element. So it gives us a lot of different formats here that you can do, and you can upload that into the app as well. Also, one thing I think is neat is a search tool here. So I'm going to click on upload here. And I want to show you just all the different things that you can see here. So we can do labels, postcards, prospecting postcards. There's a holiday recipe card, an ice cream sandwich postcard. I do that one a lot. I think the pictures are cute. You can add that into your element and you can send those things out. I do want to show you one of these here where you can add postage and mail cards. So you can see prices here. There's a minimum of 25 that you need to order. This comes down to about, 90 cents each, 89 cents each and some change. You can all just say no. So if you just wanted to, prepare the postcard itself and kind of get it ready to mail, but you wanted to do the mailing yourself, you could do that. So I'm going to show you here this add postage and mail card. So I'm going to customize this order here. And I have a list here of some addresses. So this item here says variable data. This is where you can actually upload your mailing list. So I'm going to come select over here. I think over on my desktop, I had this address list here. I think this one had addresses in it, yes. So I'm just uploading this address as I have. Now, I did export that out of a farm. Ran my farm, kind of fine-tuned my farm, got owner names, got those addresses, exported that out of farming, and then I went ahead and I'm pulling that over here into Agent Print Pro so that I can do some mailings on that as well. Okay. So now here, I have a list, really, this is a lot of those fields that I had from my CSV file. So if I wanted to put in all the full names, I could come over here and I could say all the owners' names is what I want there. And the address, I want that to be, do I want that to be the site address? Do I want that to be the mailing address? Because I exported that out, so I had some options. So, and this time I'll do the mailing address. I can do the mailing city, the mailing state, do the mailing zip. But you could pick, again, which ones you had in your element. And then again, it has our changes detected, so I'm going to update the preview. So I can see here's my first page. I use that Fruity Crisp one. But here, I'm going to click on this page 2. This just gives me a little bit of a preview of it. It's about 5 of these cards here. But I can come and I can look on what is that back side of that postcard going to be. So here's where I pulled in my address information from that mailing. And here's all my info sample real estate agent. That's just our template. But if you scroll down over here, you can write a message over here. So, looking to sell your home, call me. And I can update this. I can change the text. I can change all of that. If I wanted to change some of the colors, I could do that as well. And I'm going to update this preview just so you can see that. So you can really build out these templates. So just think a lot of the templates have kind of the colors and elements designed, but you can definitely customize that. And then as you go through, it's going to now have this as the mailing. So if I wanted to save this for later, I can just save it to my draft. I can always come back and fine tune that, but that's going to let me then purchase it through the app and they'll actually mail it out for you on your behalf. So anytime you see this upload over here, you'll have some different elements that you can use to upload your address list. Right here is what I was looking for, and they'll actually mail those out for you on your behalf. So let me jump over here to our Zoom call. I think I saw a question in the chat. Okay. No. Oh, okay. So it was just about making sure to go to the app and download it. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Well, are there any questions about farming or in Agent Print Pro? I know we saw just a quick view of those things today.
So you can use this for commercial too, right?
You can, yeah, absolutely. So here under farming, I'm going to clear this search. It does default to that residential, but let me move over here. But when you add filters, you can just come to property type, and you can even just X out of those if you'd like. And then here you can do commercial. If you had specific elements you were looking for, auto wrecking, you could select that, or you could really just select all of commercial. You can do vacant land too. So sometimes people do vacant or industrial. You can do those different types as well, and it'll find those records too. So yeah, definitely commercial.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. No problem. Well, I think if we don't have any questions, Eddie, anything you want to share before we end our call for today?
No, appreciate you, Nicole. And if y'all have any more questions, I do have this class recorded too, so I can send that to you. I'm probably going to add it on YouTube and I'll send it to y'all for reference. But looking forward to y'all get more leads. Thanks, Nicole, for sharing this
My pleasure.
all the information.
Absolutely. Happy to help.
Awesome, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.